So we're beginning a new category called Emotive People. And the first image up was titled Father of the Bride. Can we score that one, judges, please? Okay, we have our initial score in at 8.64, which I think is a fair representation of what the panel has initially responded to. Perhaps, Michael, if you could make a comment for the photographer, please.
Yeah, certainly an emotive image possibly would have been a stronger capture had the sky not been intruding into the heads. But as a capture, this certainly is full of emotion.
Thank you, Michael. It's scored 8.64. It's a great score for the photographer. We'll move on. And we have an image here called Troubled Soul. Okay, we have an initial score of 8.42, which I think is a fair representation of the panel. We'll accept that score, but we'll have a comment from Jackie for the photographer, please.
Yeah, it's really intriguing that the subtle kaleidoscope of colours, the greens and the particularly that limey green going through, and then just going through to the eyes. The eyes are really penetrating and emotive, and that's where the depths come in here. I scored at 8.7.
Thank you very much, Jackie. We'll move on, accept that score. Next image, please. And this one is called Our Stand, Our Protest. Thank you. Your initial score is in, and once again, it's fairly representative of the panel. It was a very interesting image, so it took a bit of time for the judges to come through, and we've ended up at 8.54. I think it'll probably settle around that score anyway, so we'll have a comment perhaps from Rachel for the photographer.
Uh, yeah, I really enjoyed this image. I think it sends a strong message about the chaos of that particular time in New Zealand's history. I feel like possibly it's a little bit too busy to really make that hit home and score higher, but I think that it's yeah, sending a good message.
Thank you, Rachel. It was a great image. We'll accept that score, and we'll move on to the next image. And we have Family Portrait. This was one of my favourites when I judged this, so we're going to talk about this one. It came in at 8.52. That's probably representative of a lot of people, but Jackie, you have to go in and champion this one, girl.
Yeah, I scored
There's a couple of people up there with you.
I scored at 9.4. It's really intriguing how the partners in here have come together. The half faces that are joined and then cut through to make the full faces are totally engaging, and to try and to work out how it's all working, but it's somehow working, and it all hinges off the one guy who's in here, the father. Um, his face is, it has to be that dark, and he has to be that hairy. And but this just looking at the beautiful smooth skins, the mother on the one on the right, she's so perfectly balanced with somebody else in the family that it completes her face. She just looks like young and old. I thought that was very intriguing and quite challenging, and I think it really works. I haven't seen something quite like this before, and that goes into gold for me.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. Tend to agree. Michael, at the other end, what was your score and what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I gave this 81. Obviously, I still liked it, but not as much. I found it visually confusing and challenging. Challenging's good, confusing's not good. Some of the elements, the little highlights, white highlights creeping in, should have been dealt with. They haven't been, and they are very distracting. So, but I'm listening because I agree with Jackie that it's original, and I think that's a very important element.
Excuse me, Rachel.
I scored this one 8.8 for similar reasons to Mike and Jackie. It is very original and compelling. I feel like there's some subtle things that have kept it out of that 9 gold range for me. And the most pressing one is the tiny sliver of white in the top of the right part of the image. It's like it's just a slight miscrop. And it's pulling my eye up there all the time, which is just dragging away from the impact and the expressions. So
Thank you
for me, if it was gold, it would need to be, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I think at 8.52, we can probably give it a little bit of more consideration there. And Jackie, I'd like you to just bring it home one more time.
Right, yeah. Rachel, I didn't see that little slither of white because I was so engaged by the faces. and they're all sending the same message through their eyes. There's something about all, if you look at all those eyes, and they're just communicating some sort of family depth and heritage and mana. Now the two white spots are perfectly balanced. They are a little bit bright, but they still doesn't take it away from me. Yeah. So well done at 9.4.
Thank you, Jackie. It's a brave image, actually. So we'll rescore that, judges. Okay, that's interesting. So it's actually dropped the image slightly to 8.3, but it's still a lovely score. We'll accept that. Thanks for the comments, and we'll move on. And we have a long life remembered. Okay, we have an initial score of 8.3, which I think we'll accept. Everyone seems to be in agreement there. Just as a comment for the photographer, perhaps Michael.
Yeah, beautiful lighting, beautiful composition. I do find a little loss of detail on the edge of the face, the hat, and the coat on the left-hand side. Just slightly distracting. It doesn't need much more, but a little bit more would have helped.
Thank you. That's helpful. So we'll accept that score and we'll move to the next image, please. And we have Maverick. Thank you for that. The initial score is in. We have an 8.46. Pretty agreeable across the whole panel, but just as a comment for the photographer, perhaps Michael.
Yeah, I thought this was very strong. I gave it a 9.1. Obviously, I really liked it, but I thought the gesture, the movement of the head forward from the body, the background simulating clouds, supported the aviator stance. I just thought there was a nice story here, and I thought it was well presented.
Thank you for that. Once again, the scores are pretty even across the board, so we'll accept that score. Great image to the photographer, well done. And we'll go to the next image, which is called In the Shearing Sheds. Okay, we've got to have a little chat about this, sitting right on the cusp, guys, at virtually 8.98, so virtually a 9. We've got 3 in the 9s and 2 nearly in the 9s, so let's have a little chat about it. And we will begin with Rachel. Score and why?
I scored this 9.2. Really enjoyed the fact that this child's working in the shearing shed completely over it, and the sheep is completely over it as well. I think that the expressions and the emotions there are very strong. I think potentially you could he'd swap those and they'd be, give the same vibe. I acknowledge that there's a few highlights that potentially draw the eye to some of the edge parts of the images, like the shearing tool and stuff. But I feel still like the highlight on the face of the child and the head of the sheep actually bring you back into those expressions and that connection between the two. So yeah, I put it in at 9.2.
Thank you, Jackie. And sorry, Rachel, comments from you, Jackie?
Yeah, I was on the same score, so I guess we both of us will get stuck on that point. It's the expressions on both of those people. They're both people, actually. They're both such good characters. The roly-poly tummy. I mean, just pulling her back, and that expression on her face, and a little bit of something in it's in her mouth that she's chewing on. All those little parts come together to make a great composition and a really quite a good narrative. The fact that she's looking out of frame, she's not engaging with the photography, she's in her own world here. I thought it was really engaging, and what's in the frame, I don't find distractions, but I just find it all adds to the story. Yeah.
Thank you. Michael, is there anything with further looking that you might lift your score a little bit? What's your score, and what do you
I gave it 8.7. I'm just a bit concerned because it really is a nice, rough, realistic looking scene. But if you look at the skin tone on the girl's face, it's been treated, and I just think it's inappropriate that it's been treated in the way it has. It's been smoothed out, and I just find that distracting from the ethos of the image. It's just, yeah. Anyway, just thought I'd point that out. Thanks.
Oh, it looks like that technique's gone right through the shot, really, but that's okay. So we're virtually on 9, guys, and Rachel, I'd like you to bring it home and maybe talk them up.
bit of crack. Jackie might have been a more eloquent option there. I think that everything has really been said, but this is the emotive people category, and I think that as far as emotion goes, and the fact that the emotion is being mirrored by both of the subjects here is really powerful, and that's why I've put it into the 9.2. So everyone can go higher than that.
Thank you, guys. We will rescore. So it's virtually on. It's only 1 point away from 9, so we'll rescore. Awesome. Thanks, guys. So we've brought that into the next category of 9.14. Well done to the photographer. I'm sure they'll be very excited. Thanks for the conversation, and we'll move on to the next image. And we have concentration. Excellent. Thank you, judges. We've got an initial score of 8.54, which I think is pretty good across the board. Perhaps as a comment for the photographer, Gerard.
This is a gorgeous photograph. I think it's very well balanced as well. And I just things like the child's face, almost a bit of concern in there. I mean, it's captured just at the right moment and caring, either putting that butterfly back onto the branch or not. But the lighting's gorgeous. You know, it's nice and balanced on the whole image. So we sort of get to see everything without being too distracted. There's so much going on, and yet we're able to see clearly through to the subject and what she's doing. So well
Thank you,
done,
Gerard.
photographer.
That's good, mate.
Mm.
We'll accept that. Thank you. And we'll move to the next image, which is called grief. Thank you for that. We have an initial score of 8.34. Once again, fairly even across the board. Just a quick comment for the photographer, perhaps Shah.
Yeah, thanks, Russell. In terms of emotive portraits, we presented with an image that does affect us in certain ways. I just felt that the mouth was very, very dark and looked like sort of an empty, vacant space in her face, which could have been addressed a bit better.
Thank you, Shah. Sure, photographer will appreciate that. We'll accept that score. And next image, please. And we have holding on. All right, so we have an initial score of 8.2, which is pretty even across the panel. I think we'll accept that. But a comment for the photographer. Let's try Shah this time.
Yeah, action shots are always push photographers to the limit, just waiting for that perfect timing moment. As in terms of an emotive image, the expression is kind of held in the center here with the expression on the gentleman's face. So well done for great timing and presenting us with an image with a grimace that I'm sure was quite painful after the next few shots after this one as well.
We can feel the guy's pain. Thank you for that. We'll accept that score, and we'll go on to the next image, which is an intriguing looking image and called In Rhythm with the Forest. Okay, let me have a little close look at this. Okay, so once again, we're on the literal point of a point to score a 9. It scored 8.98. We've got 3 people in the 9, so we'll have a little chat about this one, and we'll start it off with Jackie.
Yeah, it's got a 9.3. Emotive for sure. The technique that's been applied to the photograph is enhancing the atmosphere and bringing us into this song. The woman, that 1/3 from the left, she's the point of interest here, the main point of interest that launches us into this wonderful Garden of Eden or something that's going on in there. I thought there's movement. The light is appropriate, it's in the right place, exposure's good, technique is applied well. Into the golds at 9.3.
Thank you for that, Jackie. And Shah, what are you thinking?
Same as Jackie. Very emotive piece. It has an almost a ghost-like ethereal quality, which I find really refreshing and something really different. It's obviously captured the traditions and the aesthetic of these people, and the softness of the skirts that they're wearing is just, it's so, even though it's a black and white image, it's so warming and inviting. So yeah, congratulations. I had it at same score as Jackie, 9.3.
Thank you. And Gerard?
This is really a stunning photograph, and I think it really shows you don't have to have a sharp image to be sharp. I mean, this is so beautifully composed, and I think I don't think this is a snapshot or anything. I think this is a really well composed photograph, and the lighting is just stunning. I sort of look around the image all the time and see so much, and the tones are incredible. You know, as a black and white, this is just gorgeous.
Thank you, Gerard. So we're virtually on 9.
Sorry, and I was
Yeah.
9.0. So yeah, I want to get the others up.
Thank you.
Get it up, people.
So judges, I think we can think along those lines. It scored 8.98. Let's rescore and see what we can do, eh? Well done. I think it's fully deserved of this new score, which is in the 9s, 9.24. Beautiful image, well talked about, and we'll accept that score and have the next one. Thanks. Once again, another very strong image in front of us called Strength of the Ages. Okay, let's have a little squiz here. So it's fairly even. It's scored an 8.72. Most of the judges have sort of scored around about that. It's probably worthy, but we'll have a comment from Michael this time.
I gave it 8.9. Didn't quite take it into the gold because I just felt it lacked a little bit of emotion. I found it a very strong portrait, but emotionally not quite connecting with me.
Okay, thank you. I think we'll accept that score at 8.72, a great score, and we'll move to the next image. Giving it grit. Okay, so we've got an initial score of 8.6, which I'm happy to accept. I think that's pretty even across the board there. Gerard, you can perhaps say what you responded to there.
There's a couple of things in this actually. First thing, what an amazing subject matter. You know, like looking at the facial expressions of both the child and the horse. They both sort of repeat each other there. But also as a photograph, so well composed, and to capture that right on the cusp as they're turning that corner. And finally, as a commercial photograph, you know, you could actually sell this one to the Clutha Trust, I reckon. This is I just think it's really well positioned, and I love the facial expressions on both the animal and the horse, no, the animal and the child. So
Okay, mate, we'll accept that. 8.6, and we'll accept that score, and we'll move to the next image called Incoming Corner. We're all good, and virtually identical scores across the panel, so we'll accept that score. Came in at 8.5, and let's have a comment from a bloke. Michael, what do you think, mate?
Look, it's a great capture, emotional capture. I think it's not exceptional, but it's really good, which is why I didn't go to gold. But in terms of a silver, it's a solid silver.
Thank you,
Very,
mate. I
very
agree.
good.
Yep, thank you very much. We'll accept that score.